Hello and welcome to part 2 of my ranking of all 50 Ace Attorney cases. In this part, we will be covering the cases that fit into the tiers good and great. Obvious spoiler warning for all the cases, and the link to the tier list I use will be in the description. For number 43, we have 1-2 Turnabout Sisters. Mia's death was a great hook to make me continue playing the game, and it was a great intro to the cold and cruel Edgeworth. Maya being accused of Mia's murder was also a great motive to solve the case because you feel for her, and Mia was also your boss, which is another reason you want to solve the case. Gumshoe was alright here, coming off as aggressive at first, but taming down later to his usual fun self. Red White was a pretty fun, yet hateable villain with how he makes you the accused killer in the final trial, but cornering him was kind of unsatisfying with the whole Mia coming back and the random receipt thing, and the case was pretty short. At number 42 we have 1-3, which is Turnabout Samurai. Really fun case. I really like this case, honestly. The characters are awesome except for Sal. But Will Powers was a great defendant who I really liked. Penny Nichols and Cody were there, I guess. Old Bag was really awesome with her simping over Edgeworth and the victim. The murder method was really great with that costume and like the cameras and stuff to throw everyone off, and then moving on between studios and stuff in the state. And the motive was super interesting, being almost self-defense since the victim wanted revenge on Dee Vasquez. The film set is really interesting, and boy, that reminiscence theme goes crazy. At number 41, we have 3-3 Recipe for Turnabout. The first trial against Kudo, honestly, was insufferable and one of my least favorite parts of the series. With that mirror thing, it was just so drawn out and it was so stupid, it made no difference. Tigre, Viola, Maggie, and Gumshoe were awesome in this case, but the rest of the characters kinda sucked, like Jean Armstrong and Kudo and Lisa Basil. I don't know why she's even there. Tigre and Kudo's themes went very hard though. And Tigre was an awesome villain that almost carried the case because of how cool he was. He impostered id Phoenix Wright to trick everyone into thinking he lost a case, and then and then you end up tricking him at the end as well into admitting his crime, which is very satisfying. At number 40, we have 5-3 Turnabout Academy. Means is one of the most obvious killers in the series, but he's also very memeable. Clavier is cool, but they messed up his voice pretty badly. Phoenix is good here with how he's still a bit cryptic and you don't play as him, and he even rushes to examine the body before the police do. Athena is not very fun and annoying to play as, because she is a bit too stupid, I'd say. The friend triangle thing between Robin, Hugh, and Junie is kinda cringe, but not terrible, and the whole case is kinda focused around that, so it's not awful. And Miriam being one to be a part of it was kinda cool. At number 39, we have 6-4 Turnabout Storyteller. Athena's only case is right next to each other. That's kinda suspicious. Gayru sucks and is boring, and Clussy was not funny at all, but Uendo is pretty cool. I hate that they dumbed down Athena and Blackwell for this case, but Blackwell is still awesome and super funny, as usual, and him joining the defense side is nothing short of awesome. Nayuta is still great here. I'd say how he becomes even more aggressive and just sick of going against these lawyers is pretty cool, and you can definitely see that here is a lot meaner than he first was. The case is just okay, it's nothing great, but it's a good time. At number 38, we have A1, The Great Departure. It's an overall good case and a very solid intro to the greatest attorney, but way too long and drawn out. Brett is awesome and a great villain who sets up an air of mystery surrounding the relationship between Britain and Japan, as she had no seeable motive for killing John Wilson. Hosonaga is awesome as usual, and when you first nail him and get him to confess, and get to play Confess the Truth 2015, it's nothing short of captivating. Kazuma was a great co-counsel as Ryunosuke's inspiration and best friend. I assume part of why this case is so long is to help you understand better how close Kazuma and Ryunosuke are, to the point where Kazuma would risk his dream to help out Ryunosuke, which of course is built up to make his death and return hit harder, which they definitely do. For number 37 is 5-2, The Monstrous Turnabout. This is a good case. Apollo is pretty good here. Blackwell is really cool, and its introduction as a convicted killer is pretty shocking and really cool. Athena is there, I guess. She body slams some police officer, which is alright. Damien Tenma was an awesome defendant and an absolute chad with how he handled the situation by pretending to be some bird demon and how he cared for his daughter. Phineas Filch is a really fun character who had a great role in the case and was pretty fun to cross-examine. LaBelle is a fun culprit, but very obvious. They even show him off in the opening cutscene, which is great. Sweet Dreams, the murder method, was really interesting, I'd say, with the whole hidden safe with Tenmataro or whatever that threw us off. And the whole folklore kind of theme and basis of the case is pretty cool and how it affects everything. I didn't like Fulbright here at first, but in retrospect, the fact that I didn't like him at the start is very good writing for what's to come. Number 36 is A4, The Clouded Kokoro. Not a bad case at all, but it can get very boring at points. Natsume is amazing and one of my favorite defendants in the series and just characters in general. Joan is alright, and having a juror be the culprit was a really cool idea. John is cool, and I really enjoyed him and the dance of deduction in his room. The way Olive got stabbed being an accident makes Joan a bit more sympathetic, but the case is best as the first half to another, which is much higher up in the list. And number 35 is I-5, Turnabout Ablaze. This case isn't bad, but it's not great, especially for being the finale case. The settings of the two embassies is really cool, and the double murder is a good idea with the Ron fake out. But Larry kind of ruins the second murder, as I'm usually alright with Larry, but in this case he's just unsufferable for some reason. Maybe it's because of how drawn out it is. And the other parts he's in is insufferable, of course, because, I don't know, he bugs me in this case. Except for the "go away" moment, that was awesome. The "your extraterritorial rights have been revoked" moment by Lang against Alba was so hype, and it's another reason why Lang is the best Investigations 1 character. Not to mention the scene where Sheena revealed herself as you, which was incredible, and then it was followed by another incredible part by Bad shooting Sheena, but actually Lang stopped the bullet and got shot instead, which is awesome. Alba is a very funny villain, especially with the community, but it's honestly tiring to go up against. I remember playing this case from 9 p.m. to midnight against Alba alone, or not alone, but I was with my dad, but I mean, we just, for 3 hours straight, just fought this dude, the same guy, over and over. And the case is really a roller coaster overall with high highs and extremely low lows. At number 34, we have I-3, The Kidnap Turnabout. I think everybody will hate me for this, but I think I-3 is a genuinely fun and interesting case. The opening sequence is awesome and very attention-grabbing, with Edgeworth getting kidnapped and hit by that creepy blue badger. The theme park setting is awesome, and definitely the most visually appealing case in Investigations 1, with its colors and areas to explore. which was a big issue in Investigations 1 for me, and luckily Investigations 2 greatly improved on. All the character cameos were really fun, and there's even Ramarai and the Gaviners cameo at somewhere in the theme park. The introductions to Lang and Kay were pretty great, especially Kay, who literally sneaks into some building to save you and makes fun of you while she's at it. I think the Badgers were really cool, and Ernest Amano was okay. Lance Amano, the killer, was really mid, and he wasn't too interesting, but for some reason I really liked Lauren Pops a lot. Little Thief in the Horror House was a cool and great use of the gimmick, and definitely one of my favorites, as I'm not the biggest fan of Little Thief. The murder method was really cool, and it's just a fun case to play overall with a lot of unexpected moments. Number 33 is A3, The Runaway Room. This case is an excellent introduction to the British courts and Van Zeeks. It's very interesting to play with all the new mechanics introduced, like the summation examinations and pursuing witnesses to react to statements oddly. Gina was pretty cool, and McGilded is awesome. Getting McGilded off the hook, even though he is guilty, is really interesting for your first real trial and sets up a moral conflict for you, which will be later seen. Ending cutscene with Barrick and McGilded's death is incredible and very hooking and just awesome to look at with Barrick just staring. Pacing is still bad though because it's only a trial that's stretched out, and the case is good, but I don't think it's as good as a lot of people say. Number 32 is 5-4, The Cosmic Turnabout. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about this one since it's timed to 5-5 so closely, but Apollo's part of the trial was really cool and I had a good time with it, and starts to give you an idea of why he left the office, and figure out the timeline of the cases. Starbuck is a fun defendant, and the second half of the case is a bit lame, playing as Phoenix, but exploring the Space Center is cool, especially with Athena, who's talking about how she used to live there. And I like Yuri Cosmos, and my favorite characters were Ponko and Klonko, of course. And number 31 is Case 6-6, Turnabout Time Traveler. Pierce, Soren, Ellen, and Larry carry this case so extremely hard in my opinion. Soren is interesting and a great character, and his story about the diary and the car crash is really cool, honestly. Pierce had an awesome design and was a great culprit, and he even had good motives, but he's just such a cool guy overall, being the butler and stuff, and with all those cool gadgets. Ellen is a fun defendant, I liked her, and she has a great dynamic with Soren. Larry is funny, as almost always, and not very annoying here, but I actually found him kind of cool still, I mean, it was cool to see him back in 3D, and after, 9 years, still a loser. But the fake out where, we thought Larry was gonna get married, and then he threatened, have a bomb or something to protect Ellen. Oh my god, that was so funny. I love that part so much, so good. The murder method was pretty cool, and the airship was pretty awesome. The time traveler plot was also pretty fun, but it's kind of stupid as well, but I don't really mind, it's Ace Attorney. But the part that brings this case down so incredibly much is Phoenix, Maya, and Edgeworth. They all suck so hard here. Any tiny little signs of a development since they have gotten since the trilogy and have shown in DD or in Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice is stripped away here for going right back to Phoenix, Wright, Ace Attorney, Edgeworth, and Maya. They try to justify it at the last second when Edgeworth suddenly starts talking about the truth. It's very irritating and makes the case very unfun to play. And starting off the great tier, we have number 30, 4-2, Turnabout Corner. This case is overall pretty great. It's a good intro to Clavier. It's Incredible and hilarious intro to Emma with the white powder as a clear reference to cocaine and no one knowing what she means, and her stark change in mood from Rise from the Ashes is interesting. Ray getting hit by a car is wacky but funny and totally in character for the series, I would say. I mean, he's falling off a bridge, dude. Trucy is pretty cool here. She's fun, and the Penny plot is pretty funny, honestly. I know a lot of people think it's annoying, but I thought it was funny. Waki is a genuinely great and well-written defendant, and so is his family, especially his dad. With them being in the mafia but trying to make clean money, but Waki is still trying to make a name for himself is really cool. Guy Eldoon is really great and also a genuinely good and interesting character. The victim Palmeractus is really good and I found him interesting. The panty dude, the weird guy, Wesley Stickler, I think his name was, is just kind of there, I guess. And Alita Tiala is an obvious killer, in my opinion, but she was also a bit annoying, but I thought she was a really great culprit with great motives and a great murder plot. Number 29 is R1, The Blossoming Attorney. Ryutaro is pretty awesome and just helps establish the setting of Japan in its late 1800s as Susato has to act as a man to be able to even appear in court, much less defend in court and save her friend, Rei. Susato has a great objection theme, and Yujin is awesome as a co-counsel here, being her dad. The victim, Josiah Brett, is such a cool move, and it's very unexpected from a player standpoint, especially since we think she's important. You know, she's important because she killed Wilson with no motive, and now she's dead before we could ever find out what happened. Ray is a fun character, but was very underused in the game. I mean, her name is even Ray Membami, remember me, because she's never seen again. It's a perfect case because obviously two of the witnesses are Natsume and Hosonaga, which is my dream team. Many Memo is a great culprit with a great theme, and he actually has a lot of reason behind what he did and doing what he could to carry out his own reporter's justice. And he used a pretty creative way to kill Brett, and his theme, yeah, I already said it, I think. I'm repeating myself. The breakdown with the double Ray and Susato takedown was also just awesome. It's just a great case. Number 28, we have 3-1 Turnabout Memories. This case is the perfect way to start off Trials and Tribulations. Mia is awesome to play as. Grossberg is a funny co-counsel, and seeing Phoenix so drastically different here than in the rest of the trilogy is really interesting because of how Dahlia manipulates him after failing to kill him. The connection between Dahlia and Mia that was established here showed that they had interacted in the past, which makes us wonder how, and the way of taking her down, forcing her to take her own poison after Phoenix ate the necklace already, was great. And number 27 is Case 2-2, Reunion in Turnabout. This case is really great as it not only provides an interesting plot with great characters and a compelling murder with a heartbreaking motive, but also sets up the rest of the trilogy's overarching plot involving the Fays. Pearl is pretty cool. The victim Turner Gray was funny. I liked him with how he kept moving his glasses frantically. Eenie Miney is fun, and she's a cool killer. Morgan Fay is suspicious, but you don't want her to be the killer because you don't want Pearl to have to deal with that, you know? That would be Maya losing her sister and Pearl losing her mother. The murder method being a locked room mystery is really interesting and creates the conflict of is Maya the killer if the person she was channeling committed the murder? Which they didn't. There was just someone hiding in a box, Mimi Miney, I think, who's actually Einy Miney, or the other way around, was hiding in a box, I think. And Eenie Miney and Morgan Fay are great villains with great motives, and with great motive to get revenge on Turner Gray and Misty and Maya. And number 26 is case 3-2, the Stolen Turnabout. This case is just so great. The first half of the case being defending Ron DeLite, who claims to be the Phantom Thief Mask the Mask, from charges of theft of the urn of Ami Faye from 2-2 is a nice refresher from the murder cases. The genius part of this case, though, is how you end up proving Ace Detective Luke Atmey, tasked with guarding the urn of Ami Faye, introduced in Reunion and Turnabout, was actually not only the thief, but was masked to mask, meaning that you claim Ron had an alibi of working as a security guard at a security company during the theft. The real shocker comes in the second half of the case, however, when it's found out that Kane Bullard, CEO of the security company Ron works at, was murdered at a similar time of the urn being stolen. You inadvertently just gave Luke Atmey an alibi for the murder and placed Ron as the prime suspect. Eventually, you do prove that Ron was the killer, though, because Kane Bullard was blackmailing him or something like that, and Ron was, in fact, Mask the Mask, despite his wife, Desiree DeLite, claiming he was just delusional. But Ron luckily gets away scot-free due to double jeopardy. There's also some great characters in this case, like Larry, of course, and Desiree DeLite. She's awesome. At number 25 is case 4-3, Turnabout Serenade. I have never understood why so many people despise this case. When I first played it, I loved it, and now, in fact, I love it even more. The case is great for Clavier and Apollo, while also introducing important characters such as Valen, Gramarai, and Lamira. Not only is it just a fun case to play with a captivating mystery, but it holds so many twists and turns, and majorly plays into exploring the overall big themes in Apollo Justice, such as the corruption in the legal system, Maki being charged with the murder even though it's impossible for him to have committed it, and evidence not being worth everything in court, which is explored much deeper in the fourth case. If the jury system was in place, no way would the jury have decided Maki could have done it. Varian is super fun and a great culprit, killing to protect himself from being exposed as a smuggler, and his arrest also affects Clavier in a personal way, as he has now lost his friend and brother to Apollo's wrath. I even love the victim, Romain Latouche, even though we barely see him. It's just a great case. At number 24 is case I-4, Turnabout Reminisce. This case is easily the best case in Investigations 1. Playing as a young, more cruel Edgeworth is really cool, and getting to interact with a young Francisca and young Kay is really neat. The setting is also different, being in a courthouse, which is a good twist. The stars of the show here are Callisto Yu and Tyrell Bad, though, and they definitely do shine bright. The victims are Byrne Faraday, Kay's dad, and also a prosecutor that I can't remember the name of, and I don't feel like looking up right now. The way they mask the gunshot with the TV is genius, and it really shows how tricky Callisto can be with her crimes. It also shows how crazy she is when you confront her in court and she pulls a gun on you and shoots to make her grand escape. It's a really awesome case with a lot of tense moments, and a game of mostly mid. Well, that's it for the good and great of Ace Attorney cases. Let me know what you guys think of my amazing opinions, either in the comments, Twitter, or my Discord. The fact that just barely over half of the cases in this series are below the top 2 tiers once again just shows how many are so well written and designed. Well, that's it. See ya.